what David Kim has to say about StarCraft. Hey everyone, we're approaching the end of the year and there's a lot going on in Legacy of the Void. So first, we want to talk in details about our multiplayer Steam plan due to the balanced test map, additional tournaments, and holiday season that are all coming up. We're preparing a balanced test map right now for release next week. We will be looking very closely at the two big events going on this week and this weekend and make adjustments as needed. We originally planned on having a design team presence at Home Story Cup this weekend, but due to short time remaining before the holidays, we really had to focus our efforts on getting the balanced test map out early next week. We're sad to say that we can't make it to Home Story Cup, but we are sure Take and his crew will run an amazing event as always, and of course we will absolutely be watching the tournament from Irvine. We will be on holiday break for 1-2 weeks starting next week. There won't be weekly updates during these 2 weeks, but the multiplayer team will remain fully engaged in keeping up with the state of the game during this time. We will also be playtesting the balanced test map that will go up next week, as well as checking with pro players on the status of their testing. If the need to do a patch as soon as possible arises, we will be aiming for the first week of January to patch some or all of the changes from the test map into the game. We really need to see the upcoming events and how testing goes in order to know the answer to this, but currently it's looking like we will want to make a couple adjustments early next year before the major tournament season begins. That's the current plan or on our team. We're also really looking forward to the pro matches this weekend. We really recently learned that precision beats power and timing beats speed, so we're interested to know if the statement also applies to professional StarCraft 2 games. That's a nice UFC shout out. Balanced test map. We want to review the list of changes we'll be testing in balanced test map. There could definitely be further changes to this list next week depending on how the upcoming tournament go, but here's where we are currently at. Disruptor, remove plus shield damage. We originally were discussing reducing their effective damage. Whoops, I pressed a button that... We were originally discussing their effective damage only against other disruptors, but we currently thinking it'll be better if disruptor two-shot majority of the Protoss ground units that they currently one-shot. The main reason for this is that we agree with the feedback that PvP could become a bit stale to watch if you continue seeing players just shooting disruptor shots over and over without engagement really happening. What we're seeing in our internal playtest currently is that the pace of the disruptor combat is a bit more interesting with two shots. We can see the possibility of maybe playing a bit more aggressive against disruptors. Perfect disruptor hit will be more skill based due to needing 2 hits, or unit weapon attack in combination with +1 disruptor shot to finish off key units. We also hope to see a bit more unit composition diversity with this change. Zergling attack speed upgrade bonus decrease from 40 to 30! We agree with your feedback that maybe we went a bit too far with this change. We definitely want to see more Zerglings usage in the late game, but we do also agree with your feedback that the damage bump may have been too much. We want to test going back on this change a little to see if we can tune this upgrade a bit better. Viper spell damage reduced from 90 to 60. We explored potential design change as well as number tuning in this area, and for now we wonder if tuning the damage down to give more time for opposing players to micro against the ability is better. After this we will be able to gauge whatever where the ability is and go from there. Thor anti-air damage to flat 12. We're looking at ways to get a little bit more mech play in Terran matchup. Our first attempt at this will be to buff one of the more underused unit. While this is effectively a double damage buff against armored air units, we were noticing in our internal playtests that it doesn't feel super overpowered. This is probably due to the fact that their damage against armored unit was pretty low to begin with, and Thor's attack multiple times per hit, making armor also be the big factor as well. However, we also know that internal playtesting doesn't provide the full picture of a change, so we'd like to test this one out with everyone in order to see if this is in fact the best move for the Thor. Photon recharge. And energy cost increase from 25 to 50, duration increase from 15 to 20, damage increase from 30 to 45. The current version of Photon Recharge makes this a little too hard to threaten a Protoss player in the early game, so we'd like to take a little power out of it. We first tried doubling the duration and energy costs. What we quickly found out was that it was much bigger nerf than we expected. The reason were the DPS output for energy cost was half, and that it was 2 times easier to just kill the pylon per energy cost use. Therefore, we decided to go less on the duration, but also increase the damage so that while we do still have an overall nerf, it's still a smaller nerf compared to what we initially talked about. Let's see how this plays out in actual games and continue to tune further if necessary. Ravager morph time increased from 12 seconds to 20 seconds. Like we talked about before, we agree with your feedback regarding the timing and availability of Ravagers. This may be especially important in PvZ where Photon Recharge is seeing a nerf. We believe a nerf to how quickly Ravagers are morphed for Mochas will definitely help out. Ladder revamp. We've been discussing the detail of our ladder revamp and wanted to give you an update so that we can get your feedback on the current direction. A good place to begin is to discuss season duration. With all of the things are changing, thank you for the follow. With all of the things that are changing, where was I? This is something we can entirely revisit. And the Heart of the Swarm ladder seasons align perfectly with the 3 seasons of WCS. However, we're considering whether ladder seasons could be made shorter, allowing you to work towards achieving your maximum potential more frequently. There are definitely pros and cons that we see in each method, but we wanted to hear your thoughts to help decide how we want to handle ladder seasons next year. Please give us your thoughts on this. We've got quite a few other ideas to discuss with you though. Let's go in depth and take a look at our current thought about the ladder. Bonus pool tuning. We like how bonus pool is effective as a tool that rewards players for continuing to play. The current number for bonus pool point accrual doesn't seem appropriate for each matchmaking format. We intend to explore our data about how often players team play in each format in order to get better numbers per game format. Showing MMR. We're thinking we can show MMR as a tool for players to use so they can accurately tell exactly whose skill someone is. Tier system. We still believe it'll be most fun for players to focus on which tier of which league he or she belongs to. We're leaning towards keeping mid-season demotions disabled here. The main reason for this is that your current skill is portrayed by MMR already, so it will be cooler to see your highest rank that season through the league tier system. Keep loading screen information simple, but have more transparency on the score screen, for example, showing the MMR of both players on there. This is mostly based on your feedback saying that too many details about an opponent before a match might introduce weird factor that could disrupt your ability to play well. We're thinking we can focus on providing that information after the match has ended. We're exploring to see if it's better to have separate league for GM and Master. The main reason for this is that getting promoted to GM is such an awesome experience. If we were to combine these leagues like we discussed at BlizzCon, we will lose this cool factor. The most important issue to solve here is to still have an accuracy even if we split the league. We definitely don't want the situation that we currently have, where a player is clearly not at the GM level anymore, but he can't get demoted out of it as long as he's active. The current discussion point here is to update GM at set specific intervals. This way players can expect the change will happen at a set point in time that is known to everyone and play the game with this information. We're trying to finalize the design details and we hope to begin implementation next year. With this in mind, there is definitely time for everyone to give their input, so let's get discussions going in this area. League percentage matchmaking. We wanted to let you guys know that the size of lower league are a bit too big right now, and we will be working towards adjusting the lower league boundaries with the season roll early next year. This will mean that players at lower leagues will be more accurately placed into the correct league. We've also been receiving feedback from the top-end pros playing the ladder regarding match quality versus wait time, and we will also be taking a pass at this at the same time frame as well. This issue exists only at the top end of the ladder, so the majority of players shouldn't notice a big change. We expect the fixes on both ends will be strong, but we will definitely take measure to double check once the changes go live, in case further adjustments are necessary. Thanks for all feedback thus far. Let's get discussion going on the topics discussed above, and thank you as always for your valuable feedback. Daddy David Kim. Daddy David Kim with a big update here. Photon Recharge seems like a very good change. I completely agree with players that it's too spammable and it doesn't seem right. And increasing the damage is fair. It's totally fair. A pylon, it depends on what state of the game, but a pylon is easily sniped. And so it can be easily sniped depending on what you have at your disposal, and so to increase the damage um, is nice. 50 energy is a lot, but there's no way to do it better than what they proposed here. Ravager Morph Time will be great for the last game I played where I got Ravager busted. Ravager can be strong on some spawns and some maps, close by ground, 4-player maps. Usually Ravager bust is really strong, and so this would be a nice nerf. I still think that their damage to ground, their damage to building might be a little too strong, but we'll see. We'll see. Viper spell damage reduced from 90 to 60. That's actually nice. My only problem with the Viper spell damage is it feels really hard to see which unit as the Viper bomb. But maybe that's part of why it's good. It's not like it's not bad. It's not a bad spell. Like it's good because it's hard to know which unit as the Viper bomb. The spell damage, the parasitic bomb. Zergling attack speed upgrade bonus decrease from 40 to 30. Right now, the biggest problem in PvZ late game is how Zergs are able to trade infinite amount of minerals to they'll just trade better than you. It doesn't matter if you have like a storm at your 4th or your 5th, or if you have like 10 cannons, the lings will chew through everything. And that's a big problem, and so this nerf is quite welcome. The disruptor, already in Korea, players in PvP are not using disruptors as much as the West, and so this nerf is just gonna make, I think, disruptor probably non-existent in PvP as we move forward. Some of the Koreans, like I said, just are not using them as much, and so I think it's okay. I think it's okay, and actually, I think it might be too early of a nerf, just based on what Koreans are doing. But like he says, having big disruptor battles where no one is taking an engagement and just throwing balls at each other is not that exciting. But like I said, it might be too early. And the Thor is not really relevant to me. I mean, if it does more damage and it's more useful, that's nice. The ladder revamp, the bonus pool, I hope they just keep it for Archon and other stuff. I don't think bonus pool rewards active players. I think it rewards players that are not so active, like you come back and you have a lot of bonus pool, and so climbing up the ladder feels nicer because it goes quicker. Showing MMR is nice. Tier system. Tier system is good. Mid-season demotion, I actually disagree. I think they should be enabled. The loading screen is fine. I understand for lower leagues, seeing like a level 120 can be scary, because that player has a lot more experience regardless of his skill. He's played a lot of games to get to level 120. The GM and Master separation with a set time where you can get demoted and promoted is actually nice. If they actually show your MMR, GM doesn't really matter all that much, because you can know. Like right now, the biggest thing with GM and Masters is if you're Masters and you're not GM, there's no way to know accurately where you would belong in GM because the points don't match up. And so if they show MMR, it'll already be a good middle ground, and then the mid-season promotion of like getting hyped because your GM is still there. So that's cool. That I understand that, and with the MMR being shown is great. And so really great post by David. Big thanks to them for being so open with everything. And yeah. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure to like, subscribe on YouTube. Have a good time. This was for